Ahoy hoy, I'm Planet Walk, and welcome to Rush of Stupid, episode 8, I think it is. It doesn't actually... It's not working. If I go edit title, I should see it. Yeah, episode 8. And, yeah, it was certainly a... There was certainly a rush of stupid the other day. And today on the panel we have Jane Spade.
Ahoy hoy.
Yay, other people are saying ahoy hoy, it's not just me. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on the recent rush of stupid?
Like I said in my message to you, I've taken to calling them Y'all Qaeda.
Oh, yeah.
It was sad, and it was enraging, but it was fun. It's a surprise.
Yeah, like, it would be nice to be able to say something along the lines of, who could... Oh, someone's saying she is very quiet. Let me... Oh. I forgot to unmute the desktop audio.
So that's not on me?
No, it's not on your end.
Okay, good.
I often do things like that. It wouldn't be a live stream if I didn't screw up in some way. So... Anyway, so this cat's producing this. Yes, it's not my fault, it's Conspiracy Cat's fault. But yeah, we're not going to start off immediately with the actual rush of stupid. We're going to start off with just a few things to kind of ease us into it rather than just blasting you all with stupid and then your brains melt from unprecedented... You know, it's like a venom. You got to have a small part of it before you can handle a lot of it. Or I think that's how venom works anyway. If it's not, then I'm sorry, everyone's brains are going to melt.
Yes.
First off, I take no responsibility in any melted brains that may occur from this, and also I take no responsibility for anyone that face palms themselves too hard. Okay, so just so that we're all clear on that.
I want to preemptively apologize for a large population of my country that has lost its, well, never really had its damn mind to begin with.
I mean, yeah, you guys elected Donald Trump over there, so... Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we'll start... What's that?
I have no response to that. We did. I have no response to that. We absolutely did.
Yeah. So, we're going to start with this thing here. Apparently, Oregon has the 4th fewest virus cases, yet amongst the strictest lockdowns in America. And, you know, it does... Like, with this, it seems like it's saying that that's a bad thing. I feel like the idea is that they're saying it has the 4th fewest virus cases, yet the strictest lockdown. Why does it need so much of a lockdown if it's got so few virus cases?
And I don't think that why do they use yet? That makes it sound, like you said, that makes it sound like those, like the lockdown wouldn't help curtail the virus.
Yeah. It's... And besides, one of the... Yeah, like Wade what said in the chat, maybe that's why they have the fewest?
Exactly. Thank you. Exactly. Like, go figure. Everybody stays home.
So, yeah, it's... And you got to consider, here in New Zealand, we had a very strict lockdown, and we got rid of practically all the cases. I think I don't know how long it's been since we've had a case of community transmission, but if I remember correctly, it's been a while. I haven't heard usually when there is something big in New Zealand with COVID, usually it's all over the news, so I will hear about it. But I haven't heard anything since, like, there's lockdown just before the election, and that wasn't even a full lockdown. It was just, alright, let's lock down the main part where the virus got into and put the rest of the country on a bit of an alert. So, you know, maybe follow the New Zealand model. That worked for us.
Yeah, it must have been. I was watching you guys celebrate New Year's Eve, like as I was trapped in my house because there was a pandemic rampaging through the entire country, and they were like, "Ooh, New Zealand 0 cases," and I think Australia had 0 cases, and everybody was like out dancing and celebrating, and I was, binge eating Ben and Jerry's ice cream and just like crying into my bottle of champagne by myself.
Yeah. It's one of them things where I was able to enjoy going to this sort of, it wasn't really it was kind of a festival, and anyway, it was a fun times. I think the band that was playing was like the Black Seeds, I think. I can't remember if that's the name of the band. Well, I feel like the Black Seeds is like a I feel like that's like a much bigger band than than the band that actually played, but who knows? I can't remember the exact name of the band. It was the Black something, and that's why I'm thinking the Black Seeds. But anyway, the next one that I've got is certainly something. Certainly something interesting. So Marco Fusco says, here in Italy, people started to share this figure, claiming that it is the diagram of the 5G chip that has been inserted into the COVID vaccine. In reality, it is the electric circuit of a guitar pedal, and I believe that putting it into the COVID vaccine has been an excellent idea. And yeah, this is the diagram.
Right. I love how people are like, "Oh, Bill, so you're okay with Bill Gates microchipping you?" I'm like, if I get to leave my apartment, he can microchip me all he wants. Like, if you think that Bill Gates doesn't already have a way to track you if he wanted it, but he had to like manufacture a pandemic and then a vaccine to track you when he could do it through Facebook, then you're an even bigger idiot than I thought.
I mean, firstly, all these people that are saying that they're going to microchip us with a vaccine, they're already carrying around one of these square rectangles. Rectangle blocks. Square rectangle is kind of an oxymoron, but you know what I mean. But
especially love when they post it on social media, because if there's any way for them to get your data and your whereabouts, it would be through any social media platform. So
absolutely. One of the interesting things about this diagram is the fact that it literally has labels such as volume, bass, treble, mid, foot switch.
do they think that he wants to be able to be like, okay, this one needs a deeper voice, we're just gonna turn the bass up there?
Yeah, I do think that it is a distortion pedal, if I'm correct. Like, does anyone actually know the circuitry here? Because if I am correct, this is a distortion pedal, but that's only because it has MT2 gain. If it didn't have that, I'd be like, but hey, I actually do agree that we should put this in the chip because in the vaccine, because I would love to be able to yell at someone and just have distortion on my voice.
Right.
And hey, I mean, it'll be great to use that as a compressor sometimes, when I can't be bothered like yelling it as loud as I can. I'll just be like, turn on the distortion and just speak normally, and then it'll just be louder because that's how distortion works.
I wouldn't mind being able to turn the volume down on other people. I don't know if you could do that through your own chip, but
I mean, I'd hope that you can. Like, otherwise, what would be the point?
Can you swap chips with someone? And, like, can you grant other people access to your chip?
I don't know. Like, I'd hope not. Well, you could probably do that with a workaround, but it'd be one thing that you'd probably not want to grant anyone else permission to your own chip. Because who knows what they'll do. Maybe they'll turn on the... maybe they'll implement some software thing that becomes problematic, you know? Pearlfish said it's a Boss Metal Zone Gestapo pedal, so you're guessing yes, plenty of distortion. Excellent. I'm definitely getting... Well, I was already going to get the vaccine, but now that it's got a guitar pedal in it, definitely getting the vaccine.
I mean, I was on the fence before, but now totally sold.
Yeah.
Which is sarcasm. I want all of the vaccines, all of them, literally one of each.
But anyway, what's the next one? Oh yeah. Okay, so this is a bit sad, I think. So let me put this here. A guy on TV has spent 30 years camping at Loch Ness looking for Nessie. Not for a few weeks, a year, but every fucking day. What a waste of life. And I agree. Like, why would you waste your life on that?
I do. I think things are so crazy over here right now that honestly, that sounds like a viable option for the rest of my life. If it can, I'm just gonna pitch a tent next to Loch Ness and just chill out.
I mean, you'd start to get disappointed after not seeing the Loch Ness monster for a while, right?
Yeah, you think like after year 15, you would be, it would cross your mind to think maybe this ain't gonna happen, but gotta give it, gotta give him props for perseverance.
One of the things I do have to say is, let's say that the Loch Ness monster does exist. Are we sure that it's still alive?
Right? Unless, I mean, like, when did the, like, famous picture come out? Does anybody know?
I'm not sure.
The sixth, I could be making that up, but prior to 1980.
Loch Ness monster picture. There we go. I see a whole lot of things saying Loch Ness monster is spotted again in tourist's photo, but I'm not actually. It's at least 60 years ago.
Yeah, so either it's dead or there had to be like an entire population of them swimming around down there.
Yeah. 1934 by the looks of it.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, that's way older than I thought.
Yeah. That's. So yeah, it's been close to 100 years. Like 96 years. No, not 96. 86 years. So, I mean, are we sure that the Loch Ness monster is still around, even if it it doesn't exist?
I could go home.
Yeah. Anyway, what's the next thing that I've got here? Oh yeah, this one is fun. So, I don't think we've actually got a whole lot of things from Cursed Conspiraboomer images today, because I mean,
which is still the best bizarre Twitter account ever.
Exactly. So
Conspiracy.
So vaccination in English gematria equals 666, apparently.
So now it's not, they're not just microchipping you, they're microchipping you with the devil. Or is that like you're going to bear his mark? Is that what they're getting at? If you
Yeah, I think so.
How did they come up with the number? Like, V equals 132?
I have
How does...
no idea. I feel like it's just a whole lot of bullshit.
Right, did they just like randomly pick whatever numbers they could come up with to make it equal that?
Yeah, it's like the lottery, right? It's just completely random, and if you don't win this week, you buy a ticket for next week, right?
Right.
You know, that's how you go about it. And I feel like what they do is they try and, like, you see people put in things like Simon Dan's name to this numerology calculator and comes up with 33 apparently, and it's like, really? Like, you do realize that this is a load of horse crap, right?
Right. It's like when you enter your like date of birth and it calculates what day you'll die on. Like, okay. Or it could just pull up a random number.
Yeah. And also, why not vaccine? Why vaccination? Because, I mean, we can do this live. Okay, actually, they don't have any E. Like, if they had E, I'd be able to be like, okay, cool, vaccine, but they don't. Or we can go... well, let's go to gemmatrix.org. Okay, and we'll doesn't look like there's any dodgy ads coming up, so I'll post. That's always my worry when I do these things. So insert phrase. We'll go vaccination. All right. Okay, so
it also equals 956 and 111.
Yeah, it's... And, yeah, it's one of them things where you just got to pick and choose the number that you... Simple. It's like it's one of them 6-line lotto things, where instead of getting 1 line, you get 6. Alright, but what is vaccine? 700.
Oh, that's what vaccine.
342 or 57. Yeah. So you do get a whole lot of it is one of them things where you do get a whole lot of lines, and depending on what you
put in. Never mind, I saw it wrong.
Depending on if you can find something. I also wonder if we get a different value for capital V. No, you don't. Okay, cool. Just making sure. So, anyway, that's a fun thing that you can do if you want to troll anybody like this. Anyway, the next one is from Hey It's Vadim. Good, like if anyone knows of Creationist Cat, good channel. But anyway, so he says, we've officially reached the point where anyone wearing COVID masks are Antifa scumbags. So apparently, Senator Josh Hawley says Antifa scumbags terrorized his family's Virginia home. Protesters say they held a peaceful vigil.
I saw the video of that. If this If this is terrorizing someone, he is a true snowflake.
Yeah. And I mean, sure, maybe it's like, sure, maybe seeing a whole lot of people outside your home wouldn't be the nicest thing, right? Like, if I saw a whole lot of people outside my house, I'd wonder, okay, when did I get cancelled on Twitter? but you know, it's...
Yeah. I don't think protesting outside someone's home in general is a good practice. I don't even think that it would be like you could get a permit to protest there, but that is far from, you know, a frothing at the mouth crowd. And, you know, maybe try not being a dickhead and people won't show up to, like, chant at your house.
But also, are these Antifa? Like, if they're...
I don't. Okay, and Antifa is not, as far as I know, and anyone can correct me if you know more than me about this. There isn't like a single like organization called Antifa. It's an ideology, and then that they assign to like counter protesters at, you know, Klan rallies or Proud Boy rallies or whatever, and they've kind of like demonized the concept. But as far as I know, there isn't such a thing as like a card carrying member of Antifa.
But one of the things I want to point out is, if he's saying that this is Antifa, then what does that make him?
I like Shadow Dancer. Then you're Fa, and that's not a good thing. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this guy is basically saying, okay, Antifa, even though it doesn't like, it doesn't even have like any Antifa signs or anything. So if he's saying that these are Antifa, then I'm sorry, but you're probably a fascist.
Right.
And
like the one thing is really good at is like marketing, and they just have marked anyone who counters anything. It doesn't matter what, you know, they're protesting or what they're there for, or even how they're acting, violent or not. Like, you get the mark of Antifa, quite like the mark of the beast, and then it's, you know, they're the devil.
Yeah, because as we all know, Antifa is just violent thugs, right? That's what a lot of right-wingers seem to think anyway. Anyway, we'll go on to the next thing. We're going to get back to Josh Howley, by the way. Alright, so here we go, copy link and paste this. So this is something that I saw, and so apparently this guy called Nick on Facebook says, heard a person on the radio say this: you know the vaccine works because rich people and politicians are getting it as soon as possible instead of waiting to see what happens to the less fortunate. And you know what I say? I say, any anti-vaxxers, listen to this guy.
Right? Like Mitch McConnell. With the day I found out Mitch McConnell got it, my head almost exploded. I was like, if there's one person in the world who, you know, I don't think that anyone deserves it less than him. Ugh.
Yeah, Mitch McConnell is not a great person.
Right? And then Marco Rubio got it, and like all of the other senators that were like, COVID's no big deal. Like, don't do don't lock down, don't wear masks, just do your thing, you know, herd immunity, blah, 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 blah. You'll be fine. And literally first in line to get it.
Yeah. One of the things that I had a thought, but then I forgot. Oh yeah, one of the things that I think is that the vaccine should be handed out to the to nurses and doctors first, because you know that they are the people that have to, you know, that would have to deal with COVID more than anyone else. But then it would probably be going to old people, and then, lastly, it'd probably be a free-for-all in the public. That's my guess. As soon as I can get it, I am going to get it, because I actually know people that don't want to get it because they don't necessarily, because of how quickly it came out. And I'm trying to say, okay, this is how it works. It's a mRNA vaccine, and sure, I think it's one of the first mRNA vaccines that is being deployed on this sort of scale. If not the first mRNA vaccine that properly works. I'd have to... I'm not sure, though, on that. But anyway, when it comes to mRNA, it gets injected. It has a particular part of the sequence that codes for the spike protein on the virus. Now, I'm hoping that is enough to deal with every strain of COVID so far, right? Because now, correct me if I'm wrong, but if it's encoding for the spike protein, your immune system recognizes the spike protein, and whenever there's a spike protein that enters your body that the body recognizes as the spike protein, it will attack that. And will it destroy the COVID virus itself as well as the spike protein, or does it just destroy the spike protein? That's something that
I have no idea. So they're saying that it works on the new British version, and not that I am blaming by any means Britain for this version. But the like extra super contagious one that started floating around. So they say that the vaccine that they had developed for the first one is also working on that strain. So I'm assuming it would work on any like variant of the coronavirus that causes COVID-19. And I also think some of the reason it got through so fast was because they had already done like preliminary work in like 2001 with the first SARS, which obviously it isn't the same as this, but it's from like the same family of viruses, and they had already like put some of the groundwork in.
Okay, yeah. But I do think that it will probably work on the variants. That is just my intuition, though. But it's... I'm not entirely sure. I'm not a doctor. Don't listen to me. I'm just giving my opinion. What's that?
I said me neither. Not a doctor. Not even a science person. So.
Yeah. So yeah, I may be giving my opinion. That doesn't... Just because I have an opinion, it doesn't mean that it's right, and a lot of other people need to recognize that when giving their opinion. So. Anyway, what's the next one? That's not what I wanted to put up. There you go. And we're going to go to... Okay, so now we're starting to... get into the...
The Al-Qaeda?
Yeah, that stuff. I've clicked on OBS to do something, and then I've lost my Firefox, but here we go. So... Firstly, a bit of context.
Yes.
So,
so happy about this. This means so much. Like, I don't know how many Americans are out there, but the fact that we have the Senate too just opened up. Not that like we're going to change overnight or have a universal health care, but we will be able to get some shit done, which is amazing.
Yeah. But the idea of this was that 3% of the expected vote in is John Ossoff versus David Perdue, or Perdue, however you pronounce it. And Vosh said, stop the count, right? Now, he's clearly joking there.
But yeah, yes, obviously, because that is exactly what the Trump supporters did in the election. Like, Trump's up, everybody stop counting now. The rest doesn't matter.
Stop the count in, it's basically stop the count in states where Trump was ahead, and keep counting in states where Trump was behind. Anyway, on 4chan, this person said, suddenly leftists want to stop the count. What hypocrites.
Well, nobody ever accused them of being the sharpest crayon in the box.
Oh, you're telling me that I shouldn't have accused them of being the sharpest crayon in the box? I thought they were very sharp. I mean...
No. We don't even give them sharp things to play with.
Oh, true. And, so apparently leftists want to stop the... it is good that John Ossoff and that Warnock guy won, though. I'm actually surprised that the John Ossoff and David Perdue race was as tight as it was, because if I'm remembering correctly, there was one debate between John Ossoff and David Perdue where John Ossoff absolutely... I don't like using this terminology, but he absolutely destroyed the guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because essentially he was saying about the fraud that David Perdue had participated in. And I think that's a good... Whenever you're going up against a politician, to point out the fraud, and I mean, everyone does this, right? But actually doing it on a debate stage is where it needs to be done, rather than being, keep yapping, man. Just be like, yo, this person that I'm up against, he's committed this sort of fraud, he's committed this sort of fraud. This guy should really be in jail rather than running for office.
Yeah, I think part of the reason that this one was closer than the Warnock one was because Loeffler, I am fully convinced, is an alien pretending to be a human being. I don't know if anybody watched her in the debate or has even listened to her speak, but it's almost like creepy how just, and my opponent, radical liberal Raphael Warnock, blah, 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 blah. And that's all she said over and over and over. And it was like the aliens had taught her one line and like sent her down there as a pretty white woman with blonde hair. And we're like, just don't say anything but this line. Plus, Warnock is a pastor, and that's huge in especially the South. In particular, he's the pastor of Martin Luther King Jr.'s church, or what was Martin Luther King Jr.'s church. So he has like some, he got I think an extra pump from the Christian folk.
Yeah. But one of the things I've got to say, because we're starting to get into the real literal Russia's stupid, is I actually thought that the Capitol Hill thing was actually because of the Georgia results at first. Then I realized that there was some conspiracy about Mike Pence helping Donald Trump in a particular way, and
it wasn't okay. So it wasn't I wouldn't call it a conspiracy. I would call it disinformation, because the Constitution does say that like the vice president shall open the envelopes and present to Congress the result of each state's election, and then object or certify, blah 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 blah. So someone, I don't know who in particular, started or put out the disinformation that, well, if Pence just says though, like he could just say they didn't, this one's under objection, or like we're not going to accept this one and kick it back, and we're just going to have like the House and Senate vote on it. I know Tim Pool said it a lot, and I'm sure like other right-wing media, like actual media, more saying it. So it wasn't a conspiracy in terms of like no evidence, shadow government, yada yada yada. It was just good old fashioned. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, but I know what my listener wants to hear, so I'm going to make this shit up, and they're going to believe it.
Yeah, and that seems to be what it is for a lot of people. They don't know what they're talking about, but they'll sound like they know what they're talking about. That's basically, I mean, you got people like what's the people that Cats has been going after recently? Like this. Oh, I've forgotten the name of the people, but yeah, you got these people that just sound like what they know what they're talking about when they don't actually. Anyway, let's go to see what. So,
like, if it was that easy that Pence could just, like, the vice president could just, like, overturn the election, every vice president in history would have, like, overturned the election if it didn't go in their favor. So why all of a sudden we would have started doing this is beyond me, but, you know, this information is powerful.
So apparently they're having a normal one. Apparently they're having a normal one on the Donald.win. So, the first one was, nothing can stop what is coming. Nothing. Are we just supposed to watch our country being stolen by the lying, thieving dark side? I hope President Trump has more like a bag full of cats to turn loose, as in a semi-truck. DC will burn if they accept the fucked up votes from those fucked up swing states today. What a fucked up fucking mess. Time to make some noise and steamroll the streets. And then one other person.
Okay, they're saying that there's an audio leveling issue. Wait, I'm too loud, now I'm too loud and you're too quiet.
I thought because one person said
The guest is much louder than you.
Oh, okay.
It could just be at like permanent level 11 myself.
Let me check your volume is your volume is good. Oh, that wasn't what I wanted to do. Where is the
Sounds okay. Other people are saying sounds fine.
I'll turn the desktop audio down a bit. There we go, -2 dB. See if that helps a bit. But because I thought I actually misread it, and I thought that it was me that was too loud, so I turned myself down a bit.
Yeah. Okay. So do we sound better?
Okay. So
Okay.
I'll actually turn it down to 3 dB. There we go. We'll see how that works. Hopefully it works enough. But yeah, then Count Micho just said, no, drag the traitors out into the streets and put them up against a wall. No, and execute them. No need for destruction. Well, we all know how that turned out, didn't it?
Can I just say that the best troll in history would be if, for the next 4 years, every time Biden entered the room, instead of Hail to the Chief, they played the Darth Vader theme music. Dun, 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 just to troll them.
Yeah, well, they think that it's like Star Wars, don't they?
Yeah. It's also this narrative of like they're stealing it from us, or we're the real Americans. It's so engraved in like the American psyche that, you know, real Americans, quote unquote, are white Christian straight guys who live in the Midwest and work blue collar jobs. And, you know, everybody else is either, some shade of black and brown, which automatically disqualifies you, or you're a tanky liberal commie elitist. Like you can't be like slightly left leaning, you know, trans women in San Francisco and also be an American.
Yeah, because that's just not possible. I'm sorry,
Right?
but
Like,
if you are, but you just don't exist. That is a joke for anyone that wants to
Right.
that wants to cancel me on Twitter.
Please, don't cancel us.
Yeah. But we've still got more to go through. There's like 3 holes. It's like 12 whole images of this. And then another person says, Trump needs to put out a call to action for militias. The way I see it, this is the only way. Citizenry needs to take action. I'm tired of hearing the amount of fraud we have. We have enough of it already. It's just people in positions of power looking the other way. So only way to correct this action is by the citizenry. Trump needs to call up the militias into action, and then...
No, Trump wouldn't, because he's the commander-in-chief of the army, but that's their civics lesson can wait for another day.
But also, like, if there was actually some kind of bullshittery going on here with the election, if there was actually fraud, then you'd think that there would be, I don't know, evidence.
Right. They had 60 cases, 60 court cases. I don't even know how many recounts. I know Trump lost Georgia 3 times. They recounted. There was at least 1 recount in like all of the swing states. There were audits. There were 60 court cases, 59 of which were totally dismissed on their merits. One of which had like a procedural win, but it applied to both the Democrats and Republicans. And like I said, Trump is the commander-in-chief of the American military. He's like the highest military officer in the land. Not to terrify anyone, but he is. So if this wasn't a coup d'etat, if this wasn't an act of terrorism, if this wasn't insurrection, he wouldn't have to call out the militias. The military would follow his orders. Of course, the military isn't going to do that because they know that there was no election fraud. But
yeah,
like that very post right there speaks to the fact that there was no fraud. Unless now they want to say that the entire military is also in on the conspiracy.
Yeah. One of the things that I find about the whole fraud thing is that it's one of the things that I think Donald Trump was kind of just priming everyone to for a while, right?
I'm sorry. I'm losing my mind because he accused the Emmys of election fraud or like voter fraud when he didn't win an Emmy. He alleged voter fraud when he won the election in 2016.
Oh yeah.
Because he said that 3 million like illegal people voted. So even when he wins, he claims it. He had been putting that out there for like months that I'll accept it if I win, but if I don't, you're going to know it was stolen and there was fraud. Like,
yeah,
come on.
And it's one of these things where a lot of people don't. I think that a lot of people don't really understand how reasoning works, right? So the first thing that you got to consider is when it comes to the reasoning. Well, first thing you got to consider is how they got all these affidavits, because they have a whole lot of affidavits that they cite. So how did they get the affidavits? Well, first they basically set out a call to action saying, hey, come on.
There was a hotline that you could call.
Yeah. You could call a hotline. It's like the Stop Trump from Committing Suicide helpline, right? And
yeah, and then they had to change the number like 3 times because people were pranking them.
Yeah. And essentially the idea was that you call in, you say that you've seen voter fraud being committed, and then they get like 1,000 affidavits, right? If there really was voter fraud, they wouldn't have to point to all these people. They'd be able to point to a particular person who has really good evidence that would have come forth without having to have a hotline.
Yeah, and there's so many other things. Like why? Okay, so why would we rig it to win Arizona, but not Texas or Florida? Basically, if
Yeah.
you win Texas and Florida put together, it's almost impossible to win the presidential election. So why would we ship them all into Arizona when Texas is literally like right next door? Why would we not have automatically rigged the Senate in our favor? Why would we have lost seats in the House? Like either we are the smartest criminal enterprise in the history of the world, or we're the dumbest.
Yeah, like I've seen like this debate between Vadim and who else was it? I was gonna say Conspiracy Castle, but it's not Conspiracy Castle. It's like this other guy that he debated on Modern Day Debates, and essentially Vadim's said, why would we not rig it to win like seats in the Senate and the House rather than just getting rather than just putting Biden in office, right? Because Biden
If Biden, he's so old and boring. Why would we pick him of all people?
yeah, and the reasoning was something along the lines of the states have the states that it was rigged in have Democratic governors.
But they're not the only states that have Democratic governors. Like and Michigan is, I think, a Republican-controlled legislature.
Yeah, it's like you've also got to consider is that like people knew what was going to happen because the whole mail-in ballots, right? Who said to their supporters that the mail-in ballots are going to be fraudulent, so don't vote by mail-in?
Trump said that to them.
Yeah, I was thinking Biden, but I'm not sure.
No, it was definitely Trump who specifically said, "Don't vote by mail. Come on in.
Yeah,
Come on in, stand in line, and without wearing a mask."
true. I mean, he took shots at Biden for having like a huge mask or something.
Or like hiding out in his house. Like Biden is 80 years old. Like he absolutely should be hiding out in his house. He doesn't want to die.
Yeah, I mean, Trump's just a idiot. Like, as I say, chief idiot in charge. But hopefully something good comes of the Biden presidency. As I said, like anarcho-Bidenism is almost over. It's like nine-ish days till anarcho-Bidenism ends.
Anarcho-Bidenism?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, anarcho-Bidenism. Basically, the idea behind anarcho-Bidenism is that both Biden and Trump are shit candidates, but Biden is less shit.
Oh, I mean, Biden's been in government for either 41 or 47 years. The narrative that he's a commie, when did he become one? Like, at what point over the course of the past, like, half a century did he decide to, like, switch to being a communist? And it's like, he's not, I like to call him the Biden Band-Aid, because I'll be really surprised if he runs for a second term. But he was legitimately, I think, the only candidate that could have beat Trump.
I think that it would have been interesting to see how Bernie would have done, honestly. Because
No, America is not to be like, no, you're wrong, but like, Americans have been fed such a line of like, socialism's scary, like Venezuela, we're gonna all end up in like Venezuela. No, that we are not much like we aren't totally ready to see a female president, although we do have a vice president. We are absolutely not even close to being ready to electing like a self-avowed socialist, even though we are basically, you know, we have a lot of social security and other like socialist aspects to us, and socialist policies pull really well. But if you actually call them socialist, they cease to be popular.
Well, I think that first off, you've got to consider the Overton window, because in America, it seems that the Overton window has split, right? So essentially, either if you're in sort of the group that's on the right, then the you know, anything further to the left of you is you know, socialist, and then if you're anywhere on the left, anything to the right of you is socialist, and not socialist, is fascism, right? And so there, a lot of people are already divided pretty heavily because of that. But then you've also got to consider is that a lot of Trump voters, or at least Trump voters that I've spoken to, are actually in support of Bernie, right?
Yeah, like if you don't tell them who said it, like, or if you don't say like this, you know, Bernie Sanders wants universal healthcare. If you just say like, what do you think of universal healthcare? People will be like, yeah, I think we should have it. Which totally speaks to like the tribalism of, you know, like once you join a camp, it doesn't matter. You know, you hold the party line.
Well, it's the way that I've to the people I've spoken to, that like there's one person in New Zealand that was a Trump supporter that I spoke to a small while back, and he was a Trump supporter, but he liked Bernie, and he would probably, I'm pretty sure that he would have voted, well, if he was able to vote, that is, he would choose Bernie over Trump, because, you know, a lot of people supported Trump because they didn't like Hillary Clinton, right?
Yeah, the first one definitely, because she has the charisma of like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah.
She was a horrible politician. And what Trump tapped is like the very fearful white man who thinks that it like harkens back to the whole you know, like this they're the real Americans, and they think that they're losing their real America. So, you know, like Trump tapped into that kind of like vein of fear and spoke to them like kind of on their level. And in some ways Biden can do that too. Like he's more of a hair sniffing, like, less PC, less intellectual, like very you know, gaffe prone, you know, good, like kind of like, you know, I could be one of you type of dude.
I think that when it comes...
even though Donald Trump, who inherited a shit ton of money, was ever able to pull that off is beyond me. But
one of the things that I think that Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders both tapped into is populism. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the reasons why both of them are very popular, because, you know, that's populism in a nutshell, isn't it? And so, yeah, basically they tapped into populism, became very popular, but, you know, because Trump was running against boring people, and because Bernie was... Cause,
scared socialism.
Yeah, you had a lot of people saying, well, Bernie's not electable, and so they voted Hillary Clinton, who turned out... I mean, she was electable, but just not in the way that you want, right?
I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I am not, like, a cheerleader for Hillary Clinton. It would definitely be nice to, like, see someone who looks like me in the White House. Not that I look like her, but being, you know, being female. But she was objectively the most qualified candidate we had ever had. She had held the New York Senate seat for a long time. She had been First Lady. She had been Secretary of State. Like, she was more than qualified for the job. You can have your issues with like her rhetoric in the 90s and it being racist, but America is a racist country. And, you know, we were even more racist in the 90s than we were today. And she said some shit things. I would never, ever defend the things she said in terms of like the super predators. And she had absolutely no way. She was the most unrelatable academic elitist candidate running against, you know, this guy that's like, punch him in the face. I don't like him. And, you know, of course, the quote unquote real Americans went for the punch him in the face. I don't like him candidate.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. America's politics are fucked, basically, is...
Or, yes, totally, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, we do have to... we've been on this image for a while. There's also... If Trump somehow ends up losing, we will declare war on the spot. I mean...
With who? Okay, we get it. You like your guns and you like to like LARP freedom fighter, but if Trump somehow loses, then you're going to be up against the American military, and I don't think your rifle is going to stand much of a chance against a drone strike.
True. And then we go on to the last image of this part. It's okay to take back America by force. No,
lost it. You never lost it. And no, it's not. Unless like we're legitimately at war with a foreign power, but you never lost it. Yeah. If they're this fragile, you would not live a day. You would not make it a day as anything other than a straight white dude. If this is your response to losing an election.
Yeah. And I do have to say, hello, AB Science. I did briefly see your setup, but only briefly.
Is that the remake?
Yeah, he said, like, firstly, he's very low. Let me turn him up a bit. And secondly, he's cutting out. But you might need to turn your sensitivity up. I heard like little bits. It's like, let me try and simulate. Let me see if I can simulate AB Science. So this is what AB Science kind of sounded like there?
Yes.
So... Oh, and then I just saw someone in chat. Conspiracy Cats, how's it going? So... Whilst we're waiting for AB Science to sort his mic issues out, as I said, AB Science, maybe go into your mic settings and turning your sensitivity up so that you can.
And
how is it now?
Now
is this getting a bit better?
Yep.
Yeah, I was just using the wrong audio interface.
Oh, okay. Turn you back down a bit to where I had you before. And alright. Oh yeah, we're going on to the next one, so...
And can I just say, Jim's mind, yeah, there is some worry about them assassinating Biden, but I think they're more scared of Kamala. And then if she goes, I think Pelosi is next in line. Either Pelosi or whoever ends up Secretary of State is next in line. And they're even more scared of them. So I think once Biden is actually in there, I don't think that they would do the whole assassination thing.
It's kind of like...
Yeah, but there you're assuming that they've thought it through. I mean,
Right.
This has clearly demonstrated that they haven't thought things through.
It's like the whole, like, say what you want about Trump, but he did have some great assassination insurance, right?
With my son. Yeah, the albino ferret. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like no one wants a Pence presidency, right?
Unless you want to live out The Handmaid's Tale.
I mean, yeah, I'll pass on that. So, who wants to read this next thing? If you're able to read that, right?
Me or AB?
Oh, either of you. Who wants to read out the next four images?
B, you can take it. I've been here for a while, so.
I don't know if AB.
You? Oh, okay. Maybe it will be me. I'm having a hard time seeing it though. Let me try making it bigger. Okay. I'm a humble Pete. Went from going to rallies in 2015 with 100 of people, almost 50-50 supporters versus opposers, to being here in DC with millions. No, it wasn't. Of you beautiful bastards. Well, you got the bastards part right. I'm a bit late to the party, but I am ready to fight, ready to defend, ready to do whatever we have to do to win back our country. I love you all, and I can't wait to see what comes, or see what come after we absolutely win today. Jail is what is coming after.
I do actually sort of wonder, because he sounds a bit like a Philip DeFranco fan, and like I don't have anything against Philip DeFranco, but what didn't Philip DeFranco complain after he ended up on that like New York Times article about the alt-right rabbit hole or something? I can't remember, but yeah, it does sound like. Because I do know at the beginning of Philip DeFranco's videos, it's like, "What's up, you beautiful bastards?" or something like that. But you know, it's I don't know. Like, I don't hate Philip DeFranco. I don't have anything against him or anything. But I just wanted to point that out. All right. You there, Jane? Okay.
Yes, I am.
Okay. So yeah, here's the next one.
If you're a member of Congress and don't object tomorrow, we the people will object to you in 2022.
I'm not. Like, is he? What does that even mean?
That one's actually sane, because the way they stagger the congressional elections. So the next, like they call it the midterm election, where you don't vote for president, but you do vote for like a bunch of Congress people, and some of the senators will be in 2022. So that one's actually like, that's what they should have all been posting.
Okay, yeah. And then you've got this guy saying, "No, Ryan, if Congress fails to uphold the Constitution tomorrow, shit is going to hit the fan and the not-so-civil war 2.0 begins."
They did, like, Tim Pool's interpretation of the Constitution is not valid. Like, nothing. Okay, I can define the term, like the word spleen. That doesn't mean that I understand the intricacies of how a spleen works.
True.
Like, you can't just say Constitution and that's how it works. Like, that's not how this works.
Exactly. Like the way that I view it is, I'm pretty sure Congress is upholding the Constitution, right?
It was like the one time in the last 12 years, at least, that Mitch McConnell did the right thing, and maybe the first time ever for him to have done the right thing. Pence too, like they were finally too little, too late, but at least they were doing the right thing.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll go to the next one because there's This is just a meme. Like, yeah, they feel like they're the Joker. Nothing more to say about that, really.
That they posted that unironically is amazing. Like, you absolutely are the Joker, and you'll get what you fucking deserve.
You do. I don't know if people realize, but the Joker is the bad guy. Right? Like
on Twitter, when they called like the anti-Trump people, like every now and then you would hear them call us like rebel scum, and I was like, you do realize that the rebels were the good guy in those movies, right?
Yeah.
Well, so I hope my audio is all right. The funny thing is like how their complete lack of understanding of media, right? You know, you get the whole, talking about the red pills, like, do you understand the Matrix? Or they're talking about Orwellian situations. Do you know anything about George Orwell? Or here, they're quoting the Joker. It's like, hold on. You do understand that, yes, Joker is the bad guy, but also the whole riots and everything in the movie were against the system that these people in real life are trying to uphold.
Well, they think that they are against the system, though. That's the thing. Like, they think that the deep state is controlling everything, and that Trump is going to destroy the deep state, or some stupid shit like that.
So that's what I never got. Like, that's what I never got. That the people that scream like "I'm a patriot" the loudest, at least in America, are also the ones that are like, "But I hate the government." Like, but then what are you a patriot of? Like, how do you reconcile two positions?
Yeah, like it does seem like these so-called patriots are like these libertarian "don't tread on me" types. So yeah, you're exactly correct. I hadn't thought of that before.
Right.
Huh. Yeah, that's my brain is broken. And I think their brains have been broken, but anyway, we'll go on to the next one. So, this is why I guess this is why I thought that it would be, because the whole, how I thought the whole thing on Congress was because of the Georgia race. This is why.
Oh, because it was on the Donald Duck one.
Well, no, not because like I think I might have seen someone say something about this, but I can't remember if I did.
I mean, I know Kelly Loeffler was planning on opposing it, but I'm not sure what this person was getting at.
Well, that's also an issue because the actual storming happened at a time when all cell signal was jammed in the area. So they wouldn't have had access to internet, and all of this was unfolding, as the results came in and they were being certified. So they probably weren't aware of it. I mean, Warnock winning, they would have been aware of because that was quite early on.
Yeah, I think that's the night before. Yeah. I do love the comments here, though. I'm down with war. I can't live in this America. I need my America back. It's not your America, but it's just America. But good to know you're done with some light war, a little warfare.
Are you telling me that the country that I live in wasn't specifically designed to accommodate my every need?
I know it hurts. I know that for a while you're going to feel a little afraid. But yeah, no, it wasn't. It wasn't.
You see, I thought that it worked in a way that every country was designed to fit the particular individual people's needs in that country, except for America because they don't have universal healthcare. But that's
Exactly.
Anyway, we'll go on to the next one. AB, do you want to read out the next ones? I mean,
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, I need to switch between several windows so I can ride mute button. I'm still not set up.
fair enough.
Ah, God.
So I'm actually trying to get what this is about.
Right, so I'm assuming that this is Andrew Breitbart's calling for violence?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Isn't Andrew Breitbart dead?
I was just about to say that. Didn't he leave it to Steve Bannon?
Or is it an old video of his? It could very well be, I suppose.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking now. Unless they've deep faked him or resurrected him from the grave, who knows?
They honestly could believe that he is alive somewhere at this point in time. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, actually, top comment. If you look at a top comment, never more relevant than today. So yeah, okay, it is an old video.
And yeah, you got all sorts of people, like there's salty Kraken balls. I'll read out what salty Kraken balls has to say, Abby.
Really time. Storm the Capitol if necessary and drag those corrupt politicians through the streets. That's delightful.
That's
Right.
That's interesting, seeing as they're against, or they're for a lot of corrupt politicians. Like, I don't know, like, I'm pretty sure Mitch McConnell is pretty corrupt.
Yeah. Oh, I vomit in my mouth a little bit every time you say his name.
Fair enough.
I mean, they're all corrupt because
True.
After Watergate in the 60s and Richard Nixon, like they tried to crack down on like campaign finance, and like rich people fought back. And there's a very little known Supreme Court case that basically ruled that money is the same as speech. And that opened the door to basically like untold amounts of, like lobbying and campaign financing, like ended up with corporations as people. And that's kind of, what led us into the rabbit hole of craziness.
Yeah, basically turned America into an oligarchy.
Yeah, not basically, just did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is a basic explanation, but it is also the explanation. But anyway, this is a bit of a... I'm not sure if maybe we'll be able to read this. Yeah, this is... I'll go on to the next one. Here we go, Amy, you can read this.
It happened. Okay, if the what, right?
So you're just taking some time to process it, I'm guessing.
What?
Are you taking this one or am I taking this one?
I don't know.
I'll take it. If the founding fathers had been tricked into trusting the plan of a secret British government source, 1776 would never have happened and the USA wouldn't exist. The Constitution is the only plan. Use it.
Right. Okay. I'm no, I get it now. Just as you started reading it, it's like, because I was pretty sure that this guy was Q-pilled, but clearly he's not. So he's actually talking about the QAnon followers, saying it's like there's no fucking plan. It's cosplay, right? Q is just a LARP, and yeah, I get it now.
Oh, we've got a very interesting Q thing coming up actually. It is closer to the end of the stream, but it is very interesting.
And what is with the Italians? Now we're blaming the Italians? for this?
Yeah, I think apparently there was a thing about Italy being involved in rigging the election somehow. It came out a couple of days ago. It's just
Why Italy?
Well, I mean, if the Russians,
Twitter was.
if the Russians can rig the election, I suppose Italy can too.
Italian Twitter thought it was hilarious because they were just like, we can't even sort our own fucking government out, let alone someone else's.
They are like comically known for their disorganization as in like all matters, but they can pull this off.
None. This is why it's so hard to take these people seriously, right?
Right? Why not like Luxembourg? Like it was all Luxembourg. You know what I mean?
I do like.
Luxembourg could pull that shit off.
I do like what Don Giovanni says in the chat. Mamma mia. I do have to say,
you say Madonna. Yeah.
I do have to say one thing that I do have to admit. Every time I hear the name Giovanni, I immediately think of
Maybe you did it. I'm sorry.
No, I think of Giovanni Berillaro, or as otherwise known as John Berillaro, but his real name is Giovanni. And I'm going to do a Ben Shapiro with him, where it doesn't matter what he calls himself, he's still Giovanni. Anyway, go to the next. Oh yeah, maybe New Zealand did it. Maybe it wasn't Italians. This is the Kiwis.
Kiwi folk down there with your COVID-free lifestyle.
So,
whatever it takes.
Oh, you can this one, Jane.
Whatever it takes. Today is the day. Win or lose, Trump or war.
I mean,
like, I don't think that they're cloaking it in like pretend election fraud anymore. Like, if you're saying win or lose, you're implying that it doesn't matter. So
yeah, like essentially, I think that the election fraud thing was basically a cover for if Trump loses, we're gonna have we're gonna throw a hissy fit.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, there was a significant portion of the LARPing of this, storming of the Bastille that took place where the people actually really believe in like the conspiratorial nonsense. I would say there is a big of a section, like a 50-50 portion that the other half has just been looking for any excuse to take back their quote unquote, again, their America. And they were finally given one.
Well, the thing is that you have a lot of people showing up at a protest and doing their thing, and you have something this big that's happened. And actually, I would say that most of the people just got caught up in the moment and just kind of followed the crowd, because that's a thing that happens at protests. And you could see that because as soon as they were in, they were like, oh shit, what do we do now? Take an unguided tour of the place? What are we gonna do?
Like the thing, okay, well, they did post like some of them I'm sure got caught up in it, but there were definitely like people going there that had no intention of simply protesting. This was the plan.
I am convinced that if the FBI is making arrests, and I'm convinced that if they look at some of these people's computers, they will find plans. They will find
photos of people with zip ties, and they erected a gallows on the steps of the Capitol building. You don't just have that the material to build a gallows in your pocket.
Well, yeah, precisely. It's a large government building. They're confusing places. How do people get around that quickly? How do people find Nancy Pelosi's office?
Exactly.
Those sort of things. People planned it. They had diagrams, they had blueprints. There will be people that have planned it, and they're fucking saying it on the internet, and somehow Everyone is acting as if it was so surprising at the time. You have the media that I think I watched the BBC, and they were just saying, yeah, they just stormed building, and they were basically as if it came out of nowhere, if no one expected this to happen. It's like, no, and this was the plan. People have been talking about it for months.
Yeah, it's not. So for some perspective, the last time a foreign flag was in that building, the way we saw the Confederate battle flag, carried through it, was during the War of 1812 when the Brits.
You have to remember that there was actually a foreign flag in the building because I think someone ordered the wrong flag of Georgia.
Yeah, that's something that we're actually going to get to. Another thing I want to say is, what do they expect? What do you think they expected to happen? Like, if they had have found all the Democrats and had have lynched them, what did they think would have happened then? Do you think they would have? Do you think
they were mostly after? Like, it's Frankenstein is eating, its creator. Like, I'm sure they would have definitely killed all of them, but they were also after Pence. And then, yeah, they would sit down on the floor of the Senate and just wait.
Yeah, like, do they expect?
Oh, yeah.
Do they expect? Okay, we've killed all the people that we don't like. We've won now. Trump is president. Like, do they expect? Like, firstly, the military isn't going to side with Trump, right? So
no, they take their oath to the Constitution, and the only way that a military could, granted, Trump could pull and has pulled, long-term generals out of positions and replaced them or whatever, but a military coup would only work to the extent that the person below, the next rank below that, would also go along with it, and there's no way you're getting all of them to go along with it.
That's the thing. I mean, a coup also requires planning, right? And it requires a lot of planning, and it's the military. It's a cumbersome beast. You have to really be careful, especially the US military. You have to be careful to plan this out and get the right people involved and make sure that the wrong people aren't aware of anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's problematic. However, a putsch like this is a putsch, not a coup. And it's way more fun to say putsch. It's much easier.
I'm actually gonna have to Google that word. Like, how do you spell it? Putsch.
Purge.
Putsch. P-U-T-S-C-H.
S-C-H.
It's basically a coup without the military support. That's the difference between a putsch and a coup. A coup is instigated by the military. A putsch is by the people.
Okay. Yeah, so it's not a coup d'etat. And I just realised someone's naked in chat. That really shouldn't be. Let me add Steve McRae as a moderator. And Steve McRae has some good predictions. His prediction is 1, Trump will be impeached again. And 2, they won't send to Senate for a while after he is out of office. And 3, Pence may invoke the 25th if Trump tries to have another insurrection on the 19th.
Okay, so they're bringing articles of impeachment to the floor tomorrow. They won't have time to go through the entire impeachment process prior to the inauguration. But what's important about continuing through the process, even after he's out of office, is it will bar him from ever running from public office again. I don't think there's any chance of Mike Pence ever enacting or invoking the 25th Amendment, simply because even though Trump sent a literal lynch mob after him, he's still going to need some of those voters if he ever wants to continue a political career.
Yeah.
Like it. Sorry.
It would have actually been very interesting to see Trump run as an independent.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that would just break American politics.
it already kind of has. So you've seen a handful of like kind of your old school like country club Republicans that jumped ship even at the start. They weren't necessarily serving at the time, which probably led them to do it. But like Joe Scarborough on MSNBC was a Republican congressman, and he left the party like right away. There was somebody else. There were like a handful of like other senators and Congress people that were like, no, can't do this. So it's either we have developed a new political party called Trumpism, or the Republicans just are Trump.
But like if Trump started his own political party that was separate from the Republicans, essentially it would give the Democrats a huge boost in all future elections.
Yeah, like I think if that happened, I think the Democratic Party would split too into like a more leftist progressive party, and then like you're kind of like mainstream Democrats.
But that would mean that if the Republican Party split from the kind of Trumpist Republican Party and the kind of traditional Republican Party, and then if the Democrats split between the leftist elements and the mainstream Democrat, are we going to end up in a situation where the Democrats are more right-wing than one of the Republican parties?
That'd be interesting.
Right? I like, it's part of me is like, you know what, let's just let them burn the whole place down and then we'll rebuild it.
Well, that's the issue, right? Because principle, people storming the Capitol trying to burn the place down, I'm always opposed to that.
Well, I actually think, and this would probably go off on a tangent, which I'm just going to state this very simply. I think that the New Zealand model of politics would work. It would achieve what the American model tries to do but fails at, and would also it would also make the political system in America a bit more fair. And now I'm not going to go into the details of the New Zealand system, but you know how you've got the Electoral College over in America? The New Zealand system it has elements of the Electoral College, but also it has multiple parties can get in and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah, so definitely get rid of the Electoral College. That the whole premise was based off of slavery and the 3/5 compromise, and it gives more voting rights to acreage and land than it does to humans. And then I would say if you do get money out of public politics, you know, publicly fund the elections, you could get rid of the people that are, you know, promulgating the concept of trickle-down economics, which is, you know, what's making these white guys so angry because they can't, you know, like they're wondering, why didn't I get the American dream? You told me this was my America. I didn't get it. I don't have the coping skills to blame myself, or the intelligence to understand that the system is rigged. But if you know, you get money out of politics, then you can have actual people run. It won't cost $1 billion, and you won't be beholden to, you know, big oil or big pharma or any kind of big whatever.
But there's another fundamental problem about any country. That is the situation that people who want to be in political power are probably the people that should never be in political power, because you can go into this, you know, with the best intentions, but power corrupt, and there's a certain type of person that should not be given power. Unfortunately, that type of person is the person that wants power
and will do anything to get power.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of them things where a lot of people look at the Republicans and Democrats. Now, both sides in America are bad, right? The Republicans are bad, and many of the Democrats are bad. But the Republicans are way worse, and they will do shit. They will do shit that the Democrats will be like, you know, we're not going to do this because that's immoral. and then the Republicans get away with it. Right? But whenever the Democrats do anything remotely similar, they're immediately lambasted by everyone. But the Republicans get away with it all the time.
That goes back to like what I said at the start of the stream about like how good Republicans are at marketing. Like they wrote the playbook on it, on projection, on accusing your opponent of that which you do, all of those things. And because Democrats like at least have an iota of a moral compass left, weren't playing dirty back. But for a long time we've been playing by two different sets of rules. And I think just recently have the Democrats started to realize that like, hey, like the old rules that we were playing by are no longer the rules, and we kind of, as much as we might not want you kind of have to get down in the mud with the pigs and wrestle them before everybody can go like take a shower.
Yeah. But anyway, I think now's a good time to move on to the next thing, because we've been on this particular post by Dusty Smith for a while.
Maybe incredibly dry political discourse.
So, can anyone tell me what this means? Dave Rubin says, one man's burned down Target as another man stormed Capitol.
Means Dave Rubin's a fucking idiot.
Oh yeah, that's what it means.
I'm trying to figure out what that statement is.
So during the Black Lives Matter, like much as you were saying before,
I'm aware of the Target burning down, but what's he saying?
Yeah, they burned a Target in Minneapolis down in the midst of like a kind of like a spontaneous riot.
And I think basically he's equating a Target being burnt down to this Capitol being stormed.
Right. So basically, Dave Rubin is saying that he holds a branch of a Target franchise in Minneapolis. He reveres that as highly as he reveres the capital of American democracy and our democratic process.
Yeah, but who is he claiming is making that comparison? And
I think he's making it.
Round does it? Yeah.
Yeah. I think that Natalie here, ContraPoints, who's a pretty good creator, said he OD'd on high level ideas. So, yeah, no.
And also, didn't the CEO of Target pretty much just say, well, no one was hurt, so I don't give a shit, I can build another one?
Probably.
I haven't heard that being said, but, yeah,
he was quite, even after the store burned down, he was sympathetic to the protest.
Okay, that's interesting. Not what you'd expect, but hey, I suppose it's hard to know what the people with money are thinking.
Yeah.
So here's something that has aged very poorly by that guy with like the small face, Charlie Kirk. So, hey liberals, do you notice that when conservatives lose raises, we don't riot, scream, smash windows, burn cars, assault people, or need days off work? It's amazing how mature and civil conservatives are. Please remember this and take notes when we get Trump re-elected in 2020. This is from 2018, by the way.
That is, he should be subjected to like having to read that out loud every day of his life for the rest of his life.
Yeah. So this is I see things that have aged poorly, but never this poorly.
Bad. Yeah, this is bad.
Yeah. So Yeah, it is amazing how mature and civil conservatives are. Just amazing.
I love, and this was even after like you voted for the grab him by the pussy guy. Like you're gonna, you don't get to ever take the road of we're the civil ones or we're the mature ones.
No, because that was not a civil act to begin with. For that.
True. But anyway, this next one is something that I agree with. Now, this next person, I'm not the biggest fan of. Like, I know that a lot of people in chat will be huge fans of this. Maybe people on the panel will be huge fans of it, of this person. Like, I kind of a fan, but also it's like I don't completely agree with her, with the way that she's approaching things anyway. And so from Jacinda Ardern, we've got a message, basically. Like so many others, I've been watching what's happening in the United States. I share the sentiment of friends in the US. What is happening is wrong. Democracy, the right of people to exercise a vote and have their voice heard, and then have that decision upheld peacefully, should never be undone by a mob. Our thoughts are with everyone who is as devastated as we are by the events of today. I have no doubt that democracy will prevail. And I do agree with what she's saying right here.
Yeah, our fucked up version of democracy will continue through Biden and maybe a little bit after that. But I mean, like, if we don't, I don't know about other countries, but America, if we don't like take a good hard look at what led us here and have some sort of like truth and reconciliation or alternative justice or whatever you want to, deprogramming, to use a scary term, like it's only a matter of time until it does fall.
And
well, I think a key part of democracy, because we talk about checks and balance stuff, and we have to remember that a key one of those checks and balances are the people, and we have to be efficient and interfere with the process of government. That has to be a possibility, but I suppose where you would draw the line is walking sidearm a bunch of zip ties to kidnap your democratically elected leader, right?
And the guy that you voted for, like they were the first one that they were going to string up was Mike Pence.
I do have to say, like, what the fuck is wrong with people? Antifa is a disgrace. So the New Zealand government paid off MSM.
It was you guys. It was you. So now it's and it.
Yeah, no. The whole thing at the Capitol was Antifa. I know that for a fact because I was there. I am this.
I'm guessing, AV Science, you were the guy that had the horns.
They found him and he's been arrested. So.
Yeah. AV Science is coming from us live from jail, but he wasn't. They let him go because they figured out that he was Antifa, and the police are in cahoots with Antifa, apparently.
Yes, we're in cahoots with Antifa, and Ted Wheeler is our friend.
He isn't in like the cahoot at this point in time. Like your cahoots has taken over like everyone except Trump.
Yeah, like I'm in. Like even if everyone in the chat is in cahoots with Antifa, whether you realize it or not, BB there, who. BB in the chat, you're in cahoots with Antifa. Right? Don't forget it.
And the more you deny it, the more it just proves you are.
Yeah, precisely. No, I'm willing to accept. I'm the commander of the research and development division of Antifa. We've been working hard on perfecting water bottles.
What about milkshakes?
Oh, the occasional milkshake, yeah, but we got that down pat after we got Nigel Farage.
Yeah. All right, on to some more stupid. So we've got here Trump's legacy in one single image, and yeah. Can I make this bigger? Yeah, there we go. I think that
it's just sickening to see that flag inside the Capitol like that. Even though I know, like, it is slightly poetic because the Capitol building was literally built by slaves, but to see that just like parade, like with pride, paraded through there, like treason, you know, version 1.0 wasn't enough. We got to go treason version 1.1.
But like, also it is like this guy that kind of looks like a wizard with a riot shield.
Guy.
Like,
it's the Q Shaman's apprentice.
Yeah, like he just looks like he has no idea what he's doing.
Well, but that's the thing. Most people who were there probably didn't know what they were doing once they were inside. They were just like, oh,
right.
Now what?
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sit on the bench here. Oh, it looks comfortable. He's just chilling.
Because Donald Trump was supposed to lead them down there, right? Like, that's what he's, I'm coming with you to, you know, we'll give them trial by combat or whatever Giuliani said. And then, you know, like in a shocking turn of events, Bone Spurs didn't show up.
Which is, that is one thing that we're going to get to, like how like basically Trump did say that this was a bad thing that happened.
Such a very bad thing.
Yeah. But yeah, I do think that this is very descriptive of Trump's legacy. However way you want to interpret it.
Right, even the bad guy in the painting. I think that might be a hard pass.
Yeah, he probably didn't sign up for this. Anyway, this is very poetic.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Simple walls work.
Nice.
So yeah, I do find it really weird how they're like climbing up there. Like,
right?
There's some steps just down.
For a country that like half of our diet consists of just ranch dressing, and the other half is like French fries that we dip in the ranch dressing, like they seem awfully nimble to be climbing up that wall.
Like, I don't know. Like, maybe they did a like workout like the week before.
Right? Again, they were probably training for a while.
Yeah. Next one is a bit of a break from the. I think I've got a couple of breaks here from the sort of main stuff that's going on. So, because you know, like we've got to have a break every now and then. So, this is brilliant. So, this is a anime that I highly suggest people watch because I do really enjoy it. So, this person called Ruben asks, "What anime is that?" And somebody responds with, "Your Name." So they respond with Ruben. So make sure you check the anime called Ruben out. And the sad thing is that I have seen this. I have heard this happen so many times when I say, "Oh, I saw a great anime," and they're like, "What is it?" And I say, "Your Name," and they're like, "Oh, my name's," and then they say with what their name is. And it's like, no, I don't mean your name. I mean your name. I mean, it's literally called Your Name. So yeah, that's something that. Like, that's something that I've heard so many times. Like, I don't know why people think that when I say your name, I literally mean their name. No, I mean, it's called your name. And then here we go. So the Proud Boys say that it's extremely embarrassing to spend months mocking Antifa and licking cop boot, only to go out there and get absolutely rinsed by cops who are barely even trying. Weak stuff. Those teenage commies managed to take on and beat a whole army of cops and Proud Boys, and they're all skinny wimp soy boy betas but we got scrubbed like it was nothing. And all for the sake of some rich orange pedophile who doesn't give a shit about any of us. Sad. So, yeah, I'd say that Trump doesn't give a shit about you.
Right? And it only took that for you to figure it out.
Yeah. But, like, I mean, good to see that the Proud Boys are no longer supporting Trump. Like, it does worry me who they're next gonna support, but
The next Republican candidate.
yeah. So
I mean, I just enjoy the fact that the Proud Boys are in serious risk of self-reflection, introspection.
maybe, but we'll have to see whether that actually happens, you know?
Yeah.
I just love their whining about it because, like, this is about a minor scuffle with the police, wasn't it? It was they got pushed around a little bit by the police.
Yeah.
Nothing major happened, and then minutes later they were burning their Blue Lives Matter flags. They were whining like little bitch babies, and it's like, seriously.
Really like, sorry, but we can't let you, commit a pooch, or however you say it. I was like literally, that's all the cops did, and they were like, rah, you don't like us anymore.
Yeah.
And it's so funny but they've been calling, like, the guys over in Portland, like the little soy boys and stuff like that, who've been seriously fighting with cops for months.
Yeah.
Right? Or if you see like what they unleashed on the peaceful protesters outside of the White House this summer, like during the Black Lives Matter, like just literally people who were just standing around the fence and just, had the shit beat out of them, and then got back up and protested for the rest of the summer.
And then there was also the
there was a guy playing a trumpet. He got grenaded.
There's also the Australian reporter.
Yeah, the Australian reporter just got punched. There was just a peaceful crowd that got driven into by police, the cars. It's astonishing. Now, response times being what they are, and everything is like, I don't think there's a lot of talk in the internet how police kind of like aware of this, decided to pull back a bit. I'm not buying that, but it is quite interesting from reports that I hear from the ground that there were generally around DC, there were less police that day than you would have on a normal day.
Well, there was definitely I'm some of the cops, and they were taking selfies with them. Some of the Capitol Police, some of them were very valiant, and one of them was even killed. But I mean, for the most part, they basically.
If you look at the guy, the police officer, who was they were taking selfies with, the police officer wasn't taking the selfie, right? He was standing there, he was looking uncomfortable, and you're in a situation that is quite, is scary. And you can take several different approaches. He didn't look like he was that comfortable, and he just went along with it because they didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
It was clear that there wasn't information coming from the top.
Is that the Capitol Police, it's either the 4th or the 8th largest law enforcement department in the country. And everybody knew this was coming. Like, it isn't so much the guys that were on the ground. Although I'm sure it was like the guy that pulled the fence back and like waved him in seems a bit suspicious.
Yeah.
That was different. That was actually that one was going around. That was actually a completely different area, and he was just letting protesters go into an overflow section.
Okay.
That was not a video letting them in. That was actually before storming started.
Yeah.
But the fact that like they were wholly unprepared for this, and then like Maryland and Virginia both had their National Guards like lined up on the borders, and Trump told them you can't come in. So there was definitely some shenanigans. Either they are totally incompetent as a police force, the Capitol Police, because everybody could have saw this coming, or something shady was going on at the time.
Yeah, but I mean, there is a reasonable argument. I don't know exactly, of course, what the conversations that have been had, but there's a reasonable argument that could put the Department of Defense, or is it Homeland? I don't know which department that would be, but during that, because at that given time, right, they were certifying an election to allow the National Guard in at a time means that there's an armed force under Donald Trump's control.
There is that argument
Present at that time. That is very questionable, and
but I'm not sure if Donald Trump would have technically been in control of either of those National Guards, because they were the state National Guards. So maybe somebody can help me out. I'm not sure how all of that. It's all very weird. The National Guard thing is kind of weird to me, but I'm not sure if that like the governor is in command of the governor of Virginia would be in command of the Virginia National Guard. Now, once they cross into D.C., I don't know if that changes.
I don't know either.
I don't know what the situation exactly would be, but
yeah, it's all confusing American politics stuff. So yeah, I'll probably head on to the next thing that we've got, because it's got quite a few things to get through.
Yeah, thank you, Steve McRae. That's a good point. If Trump did give an illegal order, they would be under no responsibility to follow it. Like they could deny it. So
Michael Tracy says they want him impeached again, convicted, and removed, not for some high-minded civic purpose, but to punish and humiliate him and his followers. Now, I do agree that a lot of people
humiliate himself.
Yeah, I do agree that a lot of people want to punish Trump for what he's done, right? But there is a reason why they want him impeached, because, what if something happens before the inauguration?
And it bars him from running. Like, if they get through and acquit him, or don't acquit him, like convict him, not even of a crime, but just impeach him, he can't hold office ever again.
Well, that's the thing. It's kind of like people want him impeached, convicted, removed, actually for all of those reasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to humiliate him.
And its followers.
Yeah, it would be fun to see the baby have his lawyers taken away again. They do want to punish him according to the law for inciting an insurrection.
I believe we call that justice, not punishment.
Yeah. But I'm actually kind of disappointed that Trump doesn't have his Twitter account, because I'd love to just see what he's. I feel like his brain is going to self-destruct any day now.
The best part though is that people were like, people in the administration were like, we don't know how to communicate to the people, and like maybe the way every president, like up until Donald Trump did, like by going to the podium and fucking talking into a microphone.
Well, and he still has the protest Twitter account, but I'm betting that that he's lost the password to that.
Probably.
Because all that Twitter account seems to be doing is automatically retweeting the White House Twitter feed, and that's it.
Well, let me just check real quick. I'm
Yeah, the POTUS account, I believe it's run by some, like, probably poorly paid, like, fresh out of law school.
Yeah,
Schmuck.
So if I go to the President Trump account, yeah, it's just retweeting. What was the last tweet from that? Oh, there was a tweet by Ivanka Trump that it retweeted, but...
Princess Complicity.
Oh, and then I go down to the bottom and it says something went wrong. God damn it, Twitter, make sure... Wait, let me reload the Twitter account. Yeah. There we go. Now I've got to go back down to where I was before. And it won't let me go... Oh. Actually... It seems that it's deleted anything that Trump has said on it recently. Yeah, so Trump absolutely doesn't have, because I remember him tweeting out on the POTUS Twitter account, and then people were saying, oh, Trump wants to get banned for a second time. So yeah, I think what has happened is they've taken the password away from him and deleted the tweets that...
He's not safe for, like, it's not safe to give them a Twitter account, but he is in command of the largest military the world has ever seen, including a nuclear arsenal. Like,
I hope that they haven't given the nuke codes either.
Well, he already had them. Like, now, granted, to put everyone's mind at ease, I do not believe that he cannot unilaterally send them off. He has to have, like, 3 other people, I think, like, confirm that, do you want to do this? But I could totally see him, like, because Netanyahu and Boris Johnson, like, both, like, were like, we don't like you anymore. I could totally see him having a bitch fit and, like, bombing Britain. No offense, Brits.
Well,
but
I'm actually, like, if he did have the nuke codes, I'd be worried for my country as well as a couple of other countries, because you'd have Trump going, look, both New Zealand and Italy conspired with Obama to rig the election. I'm going to nuke both of them. Bye-bye,
right?
Italy. Bye-bye, New Zealand. So
Italy and New Zealand, yeah, watch out, because apparently you're in the cahoots, and we're coming for you.
Yeah, New Zealand and Italy are in cahoots with Antifa. So yeah, it's a little bit worrying, but I mean, hopefully he doesn't have the nukes. Anyway, the next thing, oh yeah, here we go. So if I bring this tweet here from BM Snowball, or BM Fairball, but he's in winter. So this guy is like, I want to buy the flag of Georgia. The shopkeeper asks, which Georgia? And then there's visible confusion on this guy's face.
They did this during the election too, when they used like the country of Georgia as like proof that there was fraud in the state of Georgia. People were like, "You do realize that's the wrong Georgia?"
Yeah, state capital.
Yeah, he probably said like, yeah, which Georgia? Well, the one with all the fraud. Okay.
Yeah, like you gotta wonder how dumb some of these people can actually be. But I do have some good news for everyone, right? Well, good news for the Trumpsters. Here's how Trump can still win. Just follow this and Trump can still win. Somehow to do with like the tree of life stacked cubes. If we are in a computer simulation, then our lives could be real time to us, but mere nanoseconds in the realm of the computer. This Trump can still win, guys. So, this is good meme. Good meme. Oh, and here's the here's Josh Howley.
Oh.
And his statement on the woke mob at Simon. Oh, he's mentioning Simon Schuster. Does AB you notified me of this, and I got this from your tweet. So do you want to read this one out?
So, for context, Josh Hawley is he's a senator, and he is a constitutional lawyer. And he comes out with a statement that this could not be more Orwellian. Simon & Schuster is cancelling my contract because I was representing my constituents. Leading a debate on the Senate floor on voter integrity, they have now decided to redefine a sedition. Let me be clear, this is not a contract dispute. This is a direct assault on the First Amendment. Only approved speech can be published. This is the left looking to cancel everyone that they don't approve of. I will fight this cancel culture with everything I have. We'll see you in court.
It's literally capitalism. That's literally capitalism.
This guy is supposed to be a constitutional lawyer, right? What is the first word in the First Amendment?
I wouldn't know. I'm not.
Congress.
What?
Congress shall not pass any law.
Yeah.
Simon & Schuster.
Anyone else? It's fucking fair game.
Right? Like, this is a private corporation saying we're going to lose money if we print your bullshit, so we don't want to print your bullshit. That is literally capitalism.
And the fact that the free market.
Right? Like, and then the fact that he uses Orwellian, like,
yeah,
complete.
I do like this comment here. They refuse to publish any of my Muppet Star Trek fanfic too. Real violation of my free speech, since we know free speech means your right to be published by a global publishing company.
Right. like the mix of entitlement and just idiocy it's amazing.
Yeah, but this guy's supposed to be a constitutional lawyer.
Yeah, there's definitely some grift here. Like, he knows that his constituents are too stupid to realize the irony of this statement.
Well, but that's the whole thing, isn't it? But Orwellian as well. It's like, do you even know who Orwell was? Because I'm willing to guarantee that he's been moaning about Antifa somewhere. And,
did you not see?
I hate to.
Oh, did you not see?
I hate to remind you of Orwell being a little bit Antifa, as in he specifically traveled to Spain to throw grenades at fascists.
So let me just go back to this thing here. Senator Josh Hawley says Antifa scumbags terrorized his family's Virginia home. Protesters say they held a peaceful vigil. So
that's the mob.
So yeah, you're absolutely right, AB. Like, he has been moaning about Antifa.
Right, and when Barack Obama was president, it was the name for Antifa was the New Black Panthers. They just changed names depending on who's the president.
Yeah, but the new Black Panthers, Black Panthers, they were so dangerous with their breakfast clubs.
Right? But the word black in them, and that's
that evil mobile library, and that plans to address illiteracy.
Yeah. Like, these people are beyond parody at this point. So, now let's go to something which you'd think that this is parody, but imagine spending the better part of the last 5 years having your brain and ego melted by uninterrupted poll exposure, flying to Washington in the middle of a pandemic to hear Trump whine about Oprah and Mike Pence at a rally, marching up to Congress on his orders to smash shit and then mill around aimlessly. You go home and hear that Biden won anyway, and all your favourite Twitter news sources, like Patriot Newsmen of the West with avatars of Roman statues, have posted your photo online and are labelling you as a gay communist Antifa actor. And then the next day, the God Emperor you pasted into Warhammer memes puts out a video cucking himself and bending the knee. I'm sorry, those were heinous acts. Please let me tweet again, Jack. You can't leave DC because the airlines have dubbed you a flight risk. You can't stay because the cops are actively looking for you after one of their own died. Your roommate at the only hotel that you would accept is a guy named Based Kekistani 1488 who wants to show you his Goblin Slayer torrents. The sun is going down and you are getting cold. So yeah, that's
right.
Yeah, so this is very accurate. I find, like, I'm glad I'm not on the right wing over in America, like, because like, I feel like to be on right wing, or at least some of the right wing, means that you'd get sucked into stuff like this. And yeah, I'd hope that I'd be a bit too skeptical and high IQ for that. But, you know. Anyway, there's... here's something that I actually agree with. So, someone's saying... As a Trump supporter, I think that we should all delete our accounts in solidarity with our president.
Okay.
Yeah, like, I think that if you support Trump, like, delete your account in solidarity with him.
What was that about cancel culture that they were just like bitching about 5 seconds ago? Like, you're literally canceling Twitter now.
Although, to be fair, this is like a joke. We've also got Chris Reagan. Now, this is different to the main Russia stupid that was seen. This is one of them things where it's a bit of a taking a break from it. So apparently, his DMs are a confusing place. So this person asks, I'm following up. Did you see the message? Are you a leftist? Chris Ray began to respond. I asked who turned right-wing if you and Shu are so staunchly shifted. It is quite a disappointment, truly. Do you condone Bernie Sanders?
Condone Bernie Sanders. Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting choice of words.
Did you get condone mixed up?
Yeah, like, how... Like, as I said, interesting choice of words. I'm not sure that they're in an order that it's supposed to be. You know? Like, it seems like a bunch of words that they've just gone into a dictionary and gone, oh, that looks like an interesting word. Leftist. That's an interesting word that I found in this dictionary here. I don't know where they got Bernie Sanders from in the dictionary, though. Maybe they asked their friend, like, how do I use condone in a sentence? So, yeah. And then there's also this here, which... Oh, so yeah, this is this a conversation which I found hilarious when I saw it. I'm trying to eat chips, but chewing feels insane. I'm just cracking the chips with my tongue and then crushing the chip. I mean, isn't that what we all do? Like when I eat chips, like I generally crush the chip with my tongue. But this person responded with, "Oh my god, what kind of chips?" So they responded with the arches, the wheel, what the fuck, the seat. Oh my god. I'm calling the hospital. I know them, what is it? The seat. What? The horse seat. Why am I losing my mind? The horse seat on a horse. Saddle chips? Yeah. I'm losing it. The ones that all sit together in the tube. Pringles. Oh my god, Liv.
That is amazing. The horse meat.
Yeah. So yeah, this. Yeah, that was something hilarious that I found, and I just want to. I wish I was able to get that as high as this person got. I'm sure AB Science would be able to supply.
Yeah, you got to come up with some good shit. I don't know what can do that.
Not that AB Science would break the law like that, but you know, I'm sure that.
Well, what me not break the law? I would never break the law.
I mean, for science, right?
For science.
Anyway, this is speaking of for science. This is the AI uprising. Wintbutt AI says, "You were born in the wrong body, and I'm here to tell you that it is my civic duty to shatter every bone in your body with my bare hands." So here's the AI uprising. Apparently, we're all born in the wrong body, and we are actually meant to be in AI bodies. So,
I mean, I'm not totally opposed to that idea. Like, especially as I'm getting older. Like, okay, I could be down with that.
I'm not too keen on the shatter every bone in my body with bare hands. So yeah. But anyway, on to the AOC reply guys. Or reply girls in this. So, AOC says, "Let's be very clear. The officials urging for no serious consequences after Wednesday's attack on our country, including the impeachment, removal, expulsion, and or indictments of officials who aided, abetted, or incited the attack, are opening the door for it to happen again." Now, I agree with that sentiment there.
Mm-hmm.
But this person says, "The whole point of protesting is to make people uncomfortable. Activists take that discomfort with the status quo and activate for concrete policy changes. Popular support often starts small and grows. To folks who complain protest demands make others uncomfortable, that's the point." And I also agree with this sentiment. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to say this means that she would condone the what did you call it, AB Science? Not a coup.
The putsch.
Yeah, the putsch.
A pooch.
Like,
Nope,
no. This isn't support of the putsch.
Well,
the act of protesting normally has a legitimate, like, again, if you look at the First Amendment, it doesn't say protest, it says redress of grievances, implying that you have a grievance. Like, those people were whining. Their grievance was, bah, like, we don't like it.
Yeah.
Well, this is there's several things you have to consider here, right? Is, you know, I'm all about non-violent peaceful protest can suck a fuck, because if peaceful protesting worked, we would have never invaded Iraq, right?
Yeah.
We did do that.
Yeah, we did, apparently. We've got non-violent protest, and we've got breaking the law. And part of that, well, you have to recognize that if you break the law out of protest, it is only effective if you then take the arrest with dignity. Now,
Yeah, you have to
I've
consider.
already also said, like, as part of a democracy, we should be in a position we can interfere with the process of government, direct action, you know, to an extent should be possible. And for a lot of people, what you see now with all the people that stormed into the Capitol that should be arrested. Well, no, what did they do? Right, most of them walked in, milled around, nothing. People that did property damage, okay, arrested for that, 10 years for that, according to Trump. But then there were people who went in armed, zip ties, with specific intent to harm people. And that is not valid protest.
Yeah.
And it's also what is a valid, like, if you are breaking a law that isn't invalid, like, it's the theory of natural law, right? Like, if a law is bad, then it is no law at all. You know, Martin Luther King, you know, letters from a Birmingham jail. Like, in that case, you have a duty to break the law. But here, what we saw at the Capitol, like, those weren't bad laws. They had no grievance to redress. Like, they just were whiny. And
yeah, they were whiny, but did they not have a grievance? Did they not have a grievance that they could petition the government to redress? Because imagine the scenario that we had that Trump won. We had evidence that there was voter fraud, and Trump won on the basis of that. And they were about to certify that election. And people stormed Capitol to interfere with that.
Yeah, but then they would have a legitimate grievance.
Yeah.
So
but,
I think we're making.
But what is the difference here, right? Because that is the reality, right? Because then, you know, if we had evidence, concrete evidence, but to these people, they have concrete evidence. At least that's what they think.
To me, it's not like ignorance of the law is not a defense. Like, or, you know, like, ignorance just isn't. There's a difference between being willfully ignorant and ignorant. There were some people there that were just plain old ignorant, right? Like, they didn't know, and you're correct in the fact that, like, they should not spend the rest of their life paying for this or face serious charges. But if you're like, for the most part, they were willfully ignorant. They just didn't want to know the truth, because we had 60 court cases. We had, you know, like, Trump's AG, Trump's Homeland Security, Trump's Supreme Court. We went through all of that, and they still were not happy. So at what point do you have to say, like, no, you knew? Like, you knew. You might not admit to knowing, but you knew.
Well, and this is where, you know, the Trump and cronies are so complicit. It goes beyond.
Yeah.
It goes beyond just inciting and the statements directly before that. There was a long standing, and he could quite reasonably argue, a concerted effort to destroy the notion of a shared truth.
Mm-hmm.
And you then end up in a situation. Basically, what I'm saying is the moment that it was first press, the first correspondent for the White House, wasn't it?
Sean, KilianP. Oh,
yeah.
Sean Spicer. There's been so many. Sarah Huckabee.
Basically, I think it was Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Basically, as soon as she said alternative fact.
Oh, that was Kellyanne Conway.
Kellyanne Conway, that's the one. As soon as she said alternative facts, this was bound to happen. At that moment, this became inevitable.
Yeah, because I mean, what is the alternative to a fact? It's a lie. So and
it's the destruction of a shared basis of truth.
Yeah.
And so you can have 60 court cases and have the process completely. That there was no evidence of fraud, but to them, that then becomes the situation. No, fuck it. The whole checks and balances have failed, and we need to burn the place down.
And that's also like the problem with there's like over the past 3 decades, there's also been like a stream of American politics that is, anti-education, anti-academia, anti-intellect. So we haven't been taught, at least most of us haven't been taught how to consume information or think critically. And then along comes the internet, where you give them all of human history's like acquire knowledge. And in between like Isaac Newton and Einstein is Alex Jones. And then, have at it, find whatever you want to or already believe in. And then that becomes your individualized reality. And you have a shit show.
Yeah, because I suppose that's the kind of irony, isn't it? It's pretty much summarized by because remember the late noughties, when social media came out, and the early 2010s, and the whole boomer generation was going, social media is going to rot millennials' brains, and then suddenly they went on social media.
Right, we need boomer control on social media, not parental control.
Maybe,
God.
Maybe that meme, because Elon Musk is pretty rich now. Maybe that meme where it's like Elon Musk buys Facebook and deletes it should actually.
And Loki Jedi asked the question: didn't Bush steal the election? So it's nobody really knows. That one's difficult. Like that election came down to literally only the state of Florida and only 500 votes in the state of Florida. And there might have been some shenanigans because Jeb Bush, W. Bush's older brother, was the governor of Florida. And then the Supreme Court ruled like a really wacky, like unprecedented ruling that they literally said should never be used as a precedent for anything. So maybe.
Yeah, it could be. It could have been a failure. That could have very well been the case. It was a very tight one.
Yeah, but anyway,
and the recap was stopped, wasn't it? So
yeah. So here's a question that Vosh asks to everyone: what's the most Orwellian thing that's ever happened to you? When I was in kindergarten one time, the teacher let me have a second little milk carton after I asked. But when I wanted a third, she said no. So, what is the most Orwellian? And also, I asked the chat, what is the most Orwellian thing that has happened to you? So, what about you, AB Science? What's the most Orwellian thing that's ever happened to you?
Joke or serious?
Yes.
If I'm, because I can't think of a joke, I'll go serious. Being held at gunpoint by five soldiers at the airport.
Oh.
And then subsequently be followed by black unmarked van.
Okay.
Oh, that took a dark turn quickly.
What about you, Jane?
Oh God, I don't know. I don't know. Can you come back to me?
For me, let me think. Oh, I know, getting banned off Tinder. That's the most. You get banned, then you're literally living in 1984.
Yeah, I guess I would say Twitter put me in a timeout one time because I called someone a cunt. So, but then they let me back on.
Okay, I mean, but that's like literally 1984 right there.
On that note, there's a nice couple of rabbits. I once saw a pig turn into human. Does that count?
There was this one time a pig talked to me.
I've never seen
I caught a pig once scrawling on the back of the shed that some are more equal than others. Weird, surreal moment. Maybe I should have feed Animal Farm.
Animal Farm was a good read. I like that book. All that story.
That's better.
And then there's this is quite funny. Donald Trump joins the quartering in the list of conservatives that have been banned by World of Warcraft. Platforms banning or restricting President Trump, and it's got here Facebook, Pornhub, World of Warcraft, Spotify, Snapchat, Instagram, Shopify, OnlyFans, Grindr, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest. Now, I'm pretty sure some of these are a joke, but I'm not sure. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Trump has been banned by Grindr.
I wrote a whole blog post about how him and Putin connected on Grindr.
That doesn't surprise me. No, I mean the Trump and Putin connecting on Grindr part. So I mean, yeah. Also, Donald Trump should not be allowed an OnlyFans or a Pornhub. Just saying it, putting that out there right now.
Right, like please tell me he was banned from Pornhub a long time ago, because that's just an image I don't ever want in my head.
Yeah.
I'm just like imagining golden showers and Russian hotels again.
I think
a joke about Epstein.
Right.
Right,
That's okay. They already think we're all pedophiles that eat babies, so.
Well, I mean, the baby eating thing.
Yeah, we eat them now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I hear they're high in calcium, so.
There's also yeah, this is quite funny. So there's this meme here saying sometimes the let me try and do my Ralph voice. Sometimes the president sends me secret notes. And that's what QAnon says. And this person says, I'm confused. Is this meme calling us QAnon stupid like Ralph from The Simpsons?
I think that answered the question.
Are we the stupids?
Yeah. Now, this is... I'm actually going to congratulate someone here. I'm going to congratulate Alex Jones. Let's take a listen. Like, this doesn't often happen, but today I'm actually going to congratulate Alex Jones. So let me turn the volume on. All right. Let me.
Hugh tells us stuff and all of it's lies, is what I'm saying.
You keep.
We can't hear it.
Because you're lying.
Oh, you can't hear it?
I could hear it.
Maybe A/B sign. Oh, what I'll do is actually very, very low. So what I'll do is I'll turn that.
Hold on, maybe if.
AB, are you the stupids?
Oh, yeah.
Just you.
I am the stupid. Okay, let's try that again.
I'm going to turn it up for myself a bit because... Here we go.
businesses.
Hugh tells us stuff and all of it's lies, is what I'm saying.
You keep interrupting me.
Because you're lying! Because you're full of shit! That's why, because every goddamn thing out of you people's mouths doesn't come true. And it's always, oh, there's energy, and oh, now we're done with Trump. You said he was the Messiah. You said he was invincible. You said it was all over. They were all going to Gitmo. Now, oh, he's part of a larger thing of Q. I will not suffer your Q people after this. I knew what you were day one, and I know what you are now, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of all these witches and warlocks and pumpkin popsums and everything. Oh, God. Sorry. Bye-bye, Q. I can't talk to you anymore. Jesus Christ. Lord help me. Oh.
No shit.
Q tells us.
So yeah,
Yeah, that's probably because he's afraid that he's next in the litigation line from Dominion and Smartmatic.
I think in
what's that?
about him a while ago.
Or was that you cut out a bit there, AB Science? You might want to turn the sensitivity up.
I think the issue is that Q was talking shit about him about a year ago, if I remember correctly.
Okay. But
He's such a he is a semi-sentient Vienna sausage. Like, can we just what does it take to just get him canceled? Period.
But to be fair, like I do agree with some of what he says here, not all of it. Like, I do think that like where he says, "I knew what you were since day one." Like come on, like Alex Jones was sharing the Pizzagate stuff, which I'm pretty sure is like part of Q or whatnot.
Yeah, it's
that's the precursor to Q.
Yeah, and Ragical says, "Imagine this loud fart, big loud fart is not as insane as the Qs." Yeah, that's really saying something when even Alex Jones thinks that QAnon is full of shit. That really says something about your movement.
I mean, in a lot of ways, he's the Dr. Frankenstein of QAnon. Like, I don't think QAnon would have existed without him.
Absolutely.
So it's only fair that, the monster eats his face off next.
Yeah. And I think this is a good note to for AB Science to read out, of course, because...
Oh, that was me.
Yeah, like...
Oh, yes. So, that was because the 1984 is hit. Hashtag started trending. Or is here tag probably read it, any Orwell. To remind you, Orwell opposed authoritarianism on the left. He said that any decent, still at least fascist, he went to blame throw grenades at fascists.
You were cutting out a little bit there. As I said, you might want to turn the sensitivity up on Discord.
Okay, I just turn my gain up a bit.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. But yeah, I do agree. Like when you read, like as I said, I've read Animal Farm, right? Which seems to I'm not 100% sure, but it does seem to be a critique of basically what happened in Russia.
Yeah,
so Animal Farm is a critique of Stalin and Lenin.
Okay, yeah.
Right, like if communism goes to like the border between, I always read it as like it's no longer communism if you have a dictator or a totalitarian in charge like a Stalin. So beware of like populism and nationalism and all of those other things that sound good on paper because they could lead to the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, Orwell was what was at the time called a libertarian, right? I mean, that term has been hijacked by the right wing, but today we would, an anarchist, narco-syndicalist, or something along those lines. He was very much the socialist side of the spectrum. but his big point was authoritarianism, and that's what a lot of people don't really peel apart. You've got your left wing, right wing, but that's only one axis.
Yeah, you've also
Right,
got
and then
authoritarianism and libertarianism on the other axis.
Yeah, precisely on the other axis. So, and that's where the funny bit is, because the people who claim to the right wing anarcho-capitalists and libertarians, stuff like that, like, if you think about it on that political compass, they're actually closer aligned with Antifa, and they are with Donald Trump. But it's it's quite funny. And Donald Trump is closer. The Democrats are closer to Donald Trump than these people, at least the ideology that these people claim to subscribe to.
Yeah, like a lot of people seem to have this really simplistic view of the political spectrum, right? And this seems to be generally right-wingers and people that are self-proclaimed libertarians, and they say something like Nazism and fascism are left-wing, and I've heard, I think it's John Doyle say this. They say the Nazis and fascists are left-wing because if you look at the spectrum, on the extreme left you have things like communism, which is very authoritarian, and then when you get further right, you have, like in the center, you've got democracy, and then when you start to head to the right, it's like conservatism, then libertarianism, and then all of a sudden you've got fascism. That's not right, because fascism is very authoritarian, and the right wing is clearly libertarian and not authoritarian. It's just like, oh my god, don't understand.
It doesn't make any sense, because where do the Nazis sit on that? Because
they always say they
economically they were centrists.
Yeah.
Like the line I always hear him say is like, of course Nazis were left-leaning socialists. They have socialism in their name, National Socialist Party. It's like, yeah, and North Korea is democratic. But
and you know what the Nazis did with the socialist parts of their party?
They killed them.
It's called the Night of Long Knives.
Yeah.
Some people may remember it, but they identified the left wing of their party and snuck into the house in the middle of the night. Have them.
Yeah. That's it's like people just forget the stuff. Or it's like they never taught it in history class. I mean, to be fair, I wasn't completely taught all of this in history class, but at least I know about some of the stuff.
It's a really complicated time. It's really complicated. But it's also, but you also have the kind of apologists, talking about the right wing apologists or the Nazi, socialism is bad, blah blah blah. But they will praise but Hitler did great things for infrastructure and stuff like that. It's like, that was the socialist bit.
Right? Like their bridges were fantastic. Like the way they could organize to build shit was just great. But there was that whole Holocaust thing.
Yeah. And the Holocaust was bad. But, one of the things, just as a little aside, one of the things I recently heard was the word there's a bit of interesting history on the word genocide. I recently learned that the word genocide came from... Does anyone know what it was actually first used to describe? Or why the word genocide was invented?
No.
Ooh.
AB, do you know?
No.
It was actually first used to describe the Armenian genocide.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
One that so many people refuse to recognize.
Yeah. And, that was very interesting that something that I heard about it. Yeah, Don Giovanni in the chat just said Armenian genocide, and that's what it was first used to describe. And I find that very interesting. So, yeah. But
Right.
one of the things...
Like, oh, I was just going to say, like, in America, like, listening to you guys say, like, we don't learn much of this in history. We don't learn any of this. Like, we get, like, we study revolution through Civil War, then everything was fantastic after the Civil War, and then Nazis bad. America saves the world. History ends.
Yeah. One of the things that One of the things that I was going to suggest is go look at this YouTuber called Second Thought, because he does a lot of good history videos. And yeah. But one of the things that I want to end with is this here. So this is we're going to end with this, you know. Because human stupid, kitten's cute.
Cats are also, I hate to brain on piss on your parade here, but cats are also assholes. So
I mean, yeah, sure they're assholes, but at least they can be cute.
well, they are cute when they're little. Yes.
Yeah. So this is what we're gonna end on. Gonna end on kittens, because I mean that's a good way to end it out, to remind you that there is still some good left in this world, even if your brains have been melted out from all the stupid that I've subjected you to today. And so yeah. Does anyone have any closing remarks, Abby?
No, I've just melted away the sight of a cat.
You don't have anything you're working on?
I'm working on some loose ideas. I don't know where it's going.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, all I've got to say is go hug a cat.
So, D-Rabbit's just said, humans, are you having sick brand whiskey now? I mean,
Too much stupid.
I mean, when it comes to cats, that's what they call humans. They call humans humans. James Spade, do you have anything that you want to shill?
No, I would just say that, not as someone who lives in the DC metro area, to the rest of my fellow Americans, like, please be safe, because I really don't think that this is over yet. So, and hopefully in a couple weeks we can at least return to some semblance of normality.
Yeah. One of the things that I want to shill out is I've been working on my game quite a bit recently, and it's coming along nicely, very nicely. And I just noticed something come up.
Boy.
Ahoy! Wait, is Chatbot Lady working? I hope so. Because it's kind of a 50-50 sometimes. Sometimes it's like, yeah, I'm not going to work. But, thank you, Graymore Ghost, for the $10 anyway. And ahoy hoy to you too.
Cash that in now, because we don't know if we're going to have US dollars for very much longer.
Yeah. It's really annoying seeing the money that I get from Patreon just decline as the US dollar goes down in value. It makes me almost think maybe we should just have the New Zealand dollar decline in value so that I still get money.
Yeah.
At the end of the month.
Don't be fooled if we're taking y'all with us. So
yeah, like here's the thing: like I am invested in American politics because that affects me. If your dollar tanks, I don't get paid. Or let me rephrase that: if your dollar tanks, I can't pay rent. And paying rent is very important to me. I should be getting, like, what's 400 like, okay, 430 times 1.5. I should be getting $645. But now I'm getting like 570.
Yowza. I think a big part of that is also how New Zealand is recovering quite a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, like, it's not doing as, like, we decided to be like, okay, I mean, let's fuck short-term economic success. Let's go for long-term economic success. And that's basically been our plan. But yeah, anyway, what I'll do is I will say, I will see you in the next video or stream. Unless AB Science had something he wanted to say?
Nope, go hug a cat.
Okay. And with that, I will see you in the next video or stream. Between you and me, thank you for watching. Just a small thing. I just got a super chat from Gently's channel for five. Is it? That's
Pounds, I think.
yeah, pounds.
Right?
I thought AB Science will probably recognise the currency.
Yeah, that's pounds.
Saying, I'm having a party. You're all welcome on my deck for 6. And yeah, so I'd love to sit on your deck.
You won't let me come to your country because there's too much COVID in mine.
Well, the vaccines are coming soon, so yeah. Anyway, seeing as I've read out